You're welcome back. This is Breakfast Daily. Time now to talk health. Now today we're looking at you and contraception. When you hear the word contraception, what comes to your mind? You know, what are you taking to prevent what? I mean, a whole lot of things come to mind, and we've been joined by our very special one, Dr. Kelvin Owusu. He's head occupational health and wellness, Claron Health International. Hi, Dr. Kelvin.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm very well. Good to be here. Good to have you guys as well. And Charlie, that was some fire session, eh?
Charlie, Saturday.
It has set the tone.
Saturday. Claron Health, are you guys coming?
Yes. We are mobilizing. We have to come and make sure that everybody is well. And
Mobilize hard. You see what NSCABIS people are doing. Don't worry, when you come, you make any diagnosis, NSCABIS is there to give them pharmaceutical services as well. But contraception and you,
yes.
What exactly do we mean?
Well, I mean, you see, they say children are a blessing, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes, Charlie, the blessing, we want to delay it small. We want to.
You're not ready for the blessing.
We're not ready for the. It's not every blessing that we so some of the blessing you have to temper some mercy, because the times are hard, so people, especially new young couples or people who already have children, they want to take their time and plan and project. How am I paying the three school fees already? I don't want a fourth school fees in 2022. So yeah, that's where contraception comes in, and so it's something that has been around for a long time, from time immemorial. People have been trying to find ways and means of spacing their children, because if you don't do that, a woman can get pregnant pretty much 12 times a year. Assuming she's having a period every month, she has the potential to actually get pregnant that often. You see, and even after delivery, there's something called lactational amenorrhea period. It's supposed to be about 90 days to about 6 weeks, but there's a huge but. Depends on how you carry out the lactation. If you don't do it well, and now most career women...
That's breastfeeding.
Yes, breastfeeding. Because of career and work-related things, we are not able to do the breastfeeding as we are supposed to. So that lactational amenorrhea is not even working. So some women actually get pregnant, within that period. So after the 6 weeks postpartum period, when the woman is supposed to be healing, the first action, then there's pregnancy. So yes, it's something that we need to try and prevent or avoid if possible, and that's where contraception helps a lot.
No, I'm a witness to what Doc is saying, because before Adrian I lost a pregnancy, and after 2 weeks I got pregnant with Adrian, and that was 2 weeks. I almost sued my doctor because he told me, it will be after 6 weeks.
Because the assumption is that I
relax more.
But then in her case, because there was no lactation amenorrhea. So it didn't cover her. It
didn't cover her, but you see, there's still some, if you can call it protection, with whichever pregnancy stage that is lost, right? But it's not going to be prolonged, because the body, you see, once you are pregnant, there are hormones, or the body sort of goes into a form of overdrive. Different hormones come into play. You see, so it takes a while for those hormones to clear from your system. But everybody is different. This is why it makes it difficult to plan, especially that calendar method. If I had my way, I would outlaw that calendar.
Really?
Because it doesn't work for everybody.
It doesn't work, period. So when we talk about contraception, calendar method is not part of it. It's not even part of it.
But I find it interesting that you should say this, because at a certain point, it was taught as though it was a real thing.
But that's the thing about science. Science evolves. Knowledge. You add on to knowledge every day. You see. So what was the case 2 years ago is even just yesterday might not be valid today. You see. And so if you talk about failure rate, calendar method has almost 98% failure rate. Do you really want to bank on that? You see, here's the thing.
I think my school science has stuck with me for 2 years.
That was a long time ago, man.
I know, right?
As for yours, the evolution has been massive.
And nobody ever told me that it was not appropriate.
But it's okay. It's not for you, Doc. We are listening.
Because one of the key reasons why the calendar method fails is that even for a woman, when I say a woman, one woman, her cycle varies month to month.
Yes.
You see, so you cannot say with exactitude that my cycle is 25 days. Because today it's 25, the next time is 27, the next time is 23. You see, so your cycle is actually an average. You see, so when you're actually calculating your cycle, we actually take 6 month calendar and then strike an average. So it means that automatically you cannot tell me that you are fertile today with
certainty.
With certainty.
Yeah.
You know, so and you see that the sperm is very, very smart. You see, that's you know, that's why, yeah. A sperm can actually hide.
Every sperm is smart?
You got issues with that?
No, not every, I dispute that. Not every
not
sperm.
every sperm.
Not every sperm is smart.
A sperm can actually hide in the corner somewhere, just waiting for the egg to be released. So you might think that, oh, I'm in my safe period, so I'm going to enjoy myself. Yeah. But then the sperm is sitting there waiting. I mean, on paper, a sperm is supposed to die after, is it 24? It's not supposed to last long, but it can stay there just waiting. And then once the egg is removed,
so for instance, if you're in your safe period and maybe on the 4th day something happens, the next day is not too safe, so the sperm can decide to do you nya.
But how do you even know that particular month the egg was not released earlier, because that cycle is going to be shorter? You see, so basically,
but wait, so don't women know when they're ovulating, or it's not always accurate?
You see, if you are sensitive, you can tell.
Okay.
You see, you can tell.
Okay.
I mean, some of the key things. So you realize that during ovulation, your sex drive actually goes up because testosterone is. You see, God is smart. He knows when you must have sex, right? So he actually gives you a dose of testosterone just at the right time. So you notice that when you're ovulating, your sex drive also goes up because of testosterone. You know. So if you are observant, you can tell that I'm ovulating.
Okay.
So you can also tell by taking your temperature. There's a 1 degree increase in temperature. Imagine 1 degree.
Your pulse even become warm.
One pet. Now, how sensitive can you be to tell that my temperature has gone up 1 degree? Yeah, unless every morning you wake up, then
you can't tell.
Every morning you wake up, then
checking temperature.
You know, then there's also they talk about the cervical mucus thickness. When you're ovulating, the mucus is thin. Okay. You know. So again, how are you going to now be looking there? Is it thin? Is it thin?
Oh, but if you know yourself, I mean, these are things that you
But
know.
how many women know themselves? Even something as basic as cycle length, it will shock you how many women have no clue. Every time, almost on a daily basis, I get a message about, every time we talk about these things, my cycle, am I supposed to have my period every month? I'm like, you are 30 years old. Is it like I'm to ask me this question?
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Yeah. Some people actually don't. And some people also have their period twice a month. It creates a lot of confusion. It's just because they don't know their cycle, you see. So once you understand that your cycle is not fixed, then you see why contraception is key.
Yeah. So now can we look at the various types of contraception?
Yes. And thankfully, there are so many different types of contraception because people are different. People have different goals and objectives. You know, people have different tolerance levels to various medication because indeed some of them are medications. You know, so that's why there are so many variants of so many different types. You know, now the goals of contraception are also varied. There are 3 main goals. One, you want to physically prevent the semen from making contact with the egg. So that's why you have the barrier method. So you have the condom, male and female condom. You have the cervical cup. You have other weird contraptions that are Note, pull-out method is not part of the physical obstruction. Again, that also does not work. It does not work. You see, again, I go back to the sperm. The sperm is very smart. It has been
so some
proven,
of it will be inside.
I want to hear from the doctor. I beg you.
It has been demonstrated that before ejaculation, some sperm actually come out. Like they go and scout. Is it safe to come? And then the rest to follow. So if you are, if you are banking your hope on pull-out method, massa.
No, so even the pre-seminal fluid, there's some inside.
That's what I mean. Okay. So some fluid comes out to scout. Is it safe? Is everything neutralized before the main one comes? And that one also sometimes contains sperm. So if you are waiting to pull out, massa, you forget. So it's not part of the contraceptive measure. So already we've ruled out calendar method. We've ruled out pull-out. So people say their pull-out game is
I've heard that.
You are just lucky.
Are you serious?
You are just lucky.
So do because you are just wasting your time and feelings. So just shoot.
Pull-out game is good, pa.
No, forget it. Doctor says, look, just shoot and find a way to deal with the consequences.
Yeah. So the first one is physical obstruction. So the condoms, and they work. In fact, the condoms are one of the most effective. I dare say they are 100% effective if you use it right. Because again, some people don't know how to take it out or take it off. Take it out in the female version or take it off in the male version. So they end up taking it off and causing spillage. And that can negate all that you have achieved. But if you actually use it right, condom is probably the only one that can give you 100% protection from unwanted pregnancy and also from STI. That's the only one. The other barrier methods do not protect you from STIs. Condom serves a double purpose: STI prevention or protection, and then prevention of unwanted pregnancies. Yes. Then there's also the second line of contraception that prevents. They try to prevent fusion. Or the fusion of the sperm and the egg. In this way, there are two kinds in a way. There's one that prevents the egg from being released in the first place. So there you have the pill, you have the injectables, you know, you have the IUDs. Yeah. You know, so the aim is to prevent the fusion of the egg and the sperm. So this one, there's no barrier. The sperm has actually entered the uterus or the womb, but then they are not going to fuse because there's no egg being released, or the environment has been made hostile to the fused ovum. So that's the second group. Then we have a third group of contraceptives that prevent implantation.
Okay.
So this is actually where the emergency pill falls.
Morning after.
Yes, morning after pill.
So, I read. Please.
So say you mistakenly engaged in copulation.
Or deliberately.
I also read.
Because you know there's morning after. You deliberately.
I'll touch on that actually. So you mistakenly. So let's deal with the mistake. The deliberate one there. So you had the accident, and then there's fusion. You know. Fertilization, sorry. Yeah. And as the fertilized egg is coming down, it's going to implant. Yeah. It's implantation that actually, okay, there's a debate over there, but medically speaking, it's implantation that confirms pregnancy. You know, I mean, the religious people will say that once there's fusion, there's pregnancy. So that's where you have the
abortion debate.
No, but that's
exactly. Well, I mean, I'm a medical doctor, so I stick with the facts.
Yeah, so medically it's not true.
But that's what you just said, that medically and religiously.
No, religiously is also not true.
It's okay. Yeah, Bishop, it's okay.
Because the religion is based on the medical.
Bishop, we have heard you. Doctor, please continue.
Yes. So the emergency contraceptives, the whole aim is to prevent implantation. Okay. You know, so after the fusion, you have a couple of hours to a few days where the egg will travel from. Fusion usually occurs in the fallopian tube. That's the tube that connects the ovaries to the womb. And so it takes a couple of hours to days for that fertilized egg to come into the womb and be implanted. You know, now if it fails to get into the womb and it implants in the fallopian tube, that's why we have an ectopic pregnancy. But we'll talk about that later. When it gets into the womb, it's supposed to implant. Now the emergency pill makes the lining of the womb hostile, not receptive to that implantation. So that fertilized egg is then forced to come out. You know, so that's how they work. Now you spoke about the deliberate action because of the morning after pill. Now, are you aware that every woman is allowed one emergency pill a year?
Yes. You know, the day I heard that, no, so I know. So I was even going to ask, you know, that how dangerous is it to be taking emergency pills frequently?
That's why it's called an emergency. It's called emergency.
But I mean, if you kind of find yourself in emergency situations quite often.
But then that means you need proper contraceptive.
No, because I like the way you're laughing like a killer.
You see, because the emergency pill is literally speaking, it's like taking your finger and sticking it in a socket. That's what it does to your system.
And doing it often.
And doing it every time you get up, shock. I mean, does that even make sense? No, it doesn't make sense. So why would you do it to your womb? It's when you use the emergency pill, you literally reset your system. Yes. You know, so every time you use it, you are shocking your system and causing it to sort of reset itself. You see, it might not necessarily cause an immediate problem, but you might end up developing irregular period. You might end up developing complications with your hormones just because of this action. So every woman is allowed only one emergency pill a year. And if you have actually had cause to use emergency pill, if you came to me and you told me that you had used emergency pill, the next recommendation would be then get on a proper family planning. You know, because there are methods that are available that are safer than the emergency pill. Because the emergency pill, like I said, I'm just repeating for emphasis, you literally look at your own finger and then you stand in water. Then you see sockets. then you stick your hand in there.
And I want to die. No, but okay, so when you mentioned that anytime you take an emergency pill, you restart your system.
Reset, yes. You shock your system.
Exactly. So can that like delay your period?
Yes,
No, I'm asking this for my producer, Samuela. just to be to place on the record. Well, my director,
Yes,
this is not my question.
Yes, it does. Okay. It does. So it's actually going to disrupt. So assuming you were expecting your period 25 days later, it could push it back. It could bring it forward. Literally turns everything upside down. So then now you have to go back to basics and now figure out what my new cycle is because you've reset the system.
Okay.
You know, so it's just like you reset your phone. You have to literally put in new settings. Only that in your body you can't put in new settings. So you have to now wait and see what the new settings are going to be.
Yeah.
And it can come along with so many different things. So if you like how your body is behaving now, then don't go and be using emergency pill. Use other contraceptive methods that are available and which are more friendly to the body. You see, but
well, Samuel, I hope your question has been answered.
So
wow.
we
outing here like that. I mean.
But I asked the question for Samuela.
Okay. Anyway, I guess nobody knows Samuela, right?
Who said? She's part of the hairdressers, the people behind the scenes. Yeah.
So, but we cannot talk about contraceptives without talking about failure. Because contraceptives do fail. I mean, fact is fact, they do fail. I mentioned that the only one that can actually give you 100% protection if used right is the condom. And interestingly, the condom is also the one that is that is most abused or misused. I should say. People open the thing with their teeth.
But people say it's not nice. No, not okay. You know.
You see, medically speaking, I mean, I cannot discuss the niceness or otherwise of the condom.
Are you speaking as a lay person or as a doctor?
Oh, you see, in this situation, let's put the doctor aside. You see, the issue is that it comes down to money, because when you have when you have money, you can actually get condoms that are as close to natural as possible, you see. And having said that,
you got money, right?
For that, the cash, yeah? For that you can find.
Thank you.
Because there are different thicknesses of condoms on the market, so you need to find the right thickness for you. When I say thickness, I'm talking about the material, the latex material that is used. You know, and there is even condom that is made that is latex free. So I mean, it all depends on where you are getting your.
I was going to ask you about that, the latex free ones.
It's available
in Ghana. Latex free ones in Ghana?
How much?
Oh, well, I mean, it's difficult to tell how much because I haven't really looked for it in a long while.
No, but as a doctor, you know, talking to a patient.
Okay, so you see the price of condoms varies significantly. I mean, there are condoms on the market for as little as 5 cedis for and there are condoms available for as much as 100 Ghana cedis. Okay. You see, so it depends on what you are trying to achieve.
One condom for 100 Ghana cedis?
I mean, a box.
Okay.
But you want something close to the real deal.
It's a box.
But let me give you a tip. You see, men notoriously want to always last longer.
Is the pun intended?
They want to last longer. One of the tricks we teach is actually use of condom. If you actually want to last longer, condoms will actually help you last longer. You see, so people who complain that they are not lasting enough, just use a condom. That's all. It will solve a lot of your worries.
It's an easy.
You see,
but there's a but.
They say low hanging fruits.
There's a but. But. So, Doc, let's look at the other types.
Yes.
So, for instance, IUD and all this kind of stuff that you have to probably insert. Can it be cancerous?
Oh, no. I mean, so there's no direct link per se.
Okay.
However, I mean, the hormone therapy, the ones that are impregnated with hormones can, in a way, predispose you, you know, to some cancers or other. Okay. But also there's that thing about family history, you see. Now, one key thing, though, outside of cancer is migraine. Yes, migraine, some people, migraine in general, you see, migraine is also a very complicated area. Some things that trigger somebody's migraine might actually relieve another person's migraine, right? What has been found is that the hormonal, especially the estrogen-impregnated contraceptives, can, if you are predisposed to migraine or you have a history of migraine, we usually don't recommend the estrogen-impregnated ones for such people. Okay. It is very, very important, you know. Yes, but in terms of failure rate, what is also a fact is that any method that depends on the individual has a higher failure rate. Okay. So, example, condom, like I said, because it depends on the individual. In the heat of the moment, you might not even remember that I need to pause and go and pick the condom and put it on, or in the heat of the moment, you pick it, you bite it off, and then put it on. Now you have created a thousand holes.
How much of a hurry are you in that you have to bite
Senior,
it?
stop acting like you don't know what the doctor is saying.
And you see, the female condom, for instance, is very complicated to handle. You see, you have to squeeze here, pass here before you open here.
You might even get infected before you put
exactly.
it with
So once there's a human interface, it reduces the effectiveness. The pill is also very has a high. It's very useful, but because it's dependent on the person, it can be complicated. You have to literally take it at about the same time every single day.
Okay, so if you don't do that,
if you don't do that, exactly, the failure rate shoots up. You see, so let's say you are taking it 6 a.m. every day, and then something happened, you forgot to take it, and then action happens at 8 a.m. that morning. You could actually get you could actually get pregnant, just because you missed the dose by 2 hours. So it makes it tricky with the pill. So if you are looking for long-term protection in quotes, I'm using protection in quotes, then you need to go for ones that don't depend on you. Okay. So the implants, the IUDs, and there are implants that can last you a couple of months, 3 months, 6 months, 5 years, 10 years. It depends on what you are trying to achieve.
But how safe are those?
They are generally, all contraceptives are generally safe.
Okay.
But it depends on the person we are dealing with. So like I said, if there's a history of migraine, then we will not go for this one, we'll go for that one. If there are other predispositions, we will not go for this one or that one. But generally, they are all safe. Of course, there are also medications, so they have side effects, But sometimes people focus so much on the side effects to the detriment of the positive sides. So some of the side effects, I mentioned headaches, so that's why we don't give it to people who are already predisposed to migraines. People can gain weight. You see, people can have all sorts of reactions.
People also get terrible acne.
Skin reactions. Reactions can also happen. You see, but these are things that we can deal with. So, for instance, if you are gaining weight, we can deal with it with exercise. Or that's assuming we don't want to take it out. We can deal with it by exercise or watching how we eat. Maybe you're already eating late in the night, so we can change that. You see. So the point is, the side effects are well known, and most of them have remedies available. We can actually deal with them. So don't sit down and say that because I had a side effect, I'm going to stop. You see, or don't go telling your friends that don't start because of X, Y, and Z. It's probably because you didn't go back for a review for them to change it. Of course, spotting or bleeding is also real, especially for the progesterone impregnated ones. They can cause you to have unplanned spotting. Especially in the early days, you see. But in the long term, they actually stop bleeding entirely. So, for instance, you start taking it in the first. It's usually an injection. In the first 3 months, you might have irregular bleeding on and off. Some people can go for up to 6 months. It can be very distressing. But usually beyond that time, it actually stops the bleeding completely.
Is that not dangerous?
You see, contraception is how it works is that it tells your brain that there's enough of the hormone that it was going to release anyway. You see, the whole menstrual cycle is an interplay between hormones. So some go up, some come down, and depend as they intersect, then they cause the body to either release the egg, do this, that. So when you start taking contraceptions, you are disrupting that communication. So then the brain it feels like, okay, I have enough of this thing, so I'm not going to cause the ovulation. You see, so it's not dangerous. We've had contraception for years. Decades, centuries.
We've been able to figure out.
Exactly.
Now our time is up, but I need to ask this one. You see, the way you are able to, for instance, go to the pharmacy, buy a condom, or go buy an emergency contraceptive, can you also, when it comes to the pill, you mentioned those that depend on the individual and those that, so for instance, with the injectables, you have to go to the hospital, IUD, it has to be done properly for you. But like pills, I can just walk, it's an over-the-counter something. Do I need to get tested first before I know which one is ideal? Or once I just want to go on the pill, I can just go to the pharmacy, buy myself something, start taking it?
Ideally, you need to test for pregnancy before you start any contraception, because if you're already pregnant, you can't be disrupting hormones. So the first thing is to test for pregnancy. If you're not pregnant, then if it's the pill you want, you can actually go and buy it yourself.
I don't need to maybe go to the lab and make sure that I'm okay to take this medication.
You don't
so you can just.
But ideally, it's always good to have proper counseling by a proper certified either midwife or qualified medical practitioner, so that we know if is the pill even the right one for you. Because if you just go to the pharmacy and buy a pill and it doesn't work, what's going to happen is you're going to tell your friend that it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
And you're going to mess up years of good work that has been done, because now at least a prevalence of contraceptive use is increasing. People are able to plan their families better now. So we don't want your uneducated
usage.
Yes, to cause problems for everybody else. You see, because the fact that you had a negative effect doesn't mean that everybody will have it. It's probably because it was not right for you in the first place. I mentioned migraine. You didn't even know, you don't know your migraine predisposition. You went to buy the pill. The pill is a combination of estrogen and progesterone. So yes, if you actually took the pill, you could trigger migraines.
Okay. So
if you now go and tell everybody that it causes headache and they stop taking it, maybe they had no predisposition to migraine, but you are now causing more harm than good. So it's always good to get the right counseling before you start contraceptives.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Doc. We didn't talk about FSH and LH and all those things, but we'll get to that later. I like to bamboo for him.
Anyway,
Doc, how can people find you?
You can find me on social media, Kelvin Owusu MD, and on all channels, and also our clinic page, Claron Health International, on all channels as well.
Nice one. Doc is
thank you,
the
Doctor.
head of occupational health and wellness at Claron Health International. Now, on that note, we'll take a quick break, and there's more to come.